I feel like you kind of always do, like, you know what I mean? Like, you always need more just time to, like, loosen up or something.
Okay. Let's do jumping jacks right now.
Yeah.
You first.
I'll wait. Listen, Fat, listen.
I guess we'll start.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, it's a podcast. It's a video podcast this time. Right?
Right?
That's crazy. We've never done one of these before.
Brand new thing.
Brand new, yeah.
I don't... It's making me uncomfortable.
It kind of is.
I didn't know y'all were going to be doing this. I'm sorry.
Like a C camera that can...
Just Parker eating his wheats will go up.
We just usually don't have an audience, like, at all.
Yeah.
How else are you going to get better at this and grow if I don't encourage you?
If you don't
That's
heckle
so
us
true.
from afar.
So true.
With your
I'll
eyes.
say peep.
I'll know what you're thinking.
Welcome back to the Mankheads podcast.
Welcome back to the Mankheads podcast, where we talk about
things and stuff.
Yeah, some things.
This week we're doing a movie review. We haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah, we're reviewing Banshees of Inisherin and Bones and All.
Yeah, both of which premiered at Venice Film Festival this year.
Did they? Oh, I didn't know that. What were like the top prizes at Venice this year?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you knew. Does Parker know?
Parker?
Interesting.
Resident Encyclopedia.
Jamie, pull that up.
I know that both Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson won the, I believe
They both won their, like...
Cup for Best Actor.
Oh,
okay.
That's awesome.
If that wasn't caught, Parker provided us with the information that Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson won the Best Actor awards, whatever those are called at Venice.
Won Best Film.
Best film, potentially. Probably should have done our research a bit more.
Those are the lead actors in the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes, those are the two leads in
But that's
Banshees.
not what we're talking about when we're reviewing a film.
No,
it's fine.
not. So.
I just wanted to mention it because I saw it.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
Cool. What should we talk about first?
Banshees.
Banshees? Okay.
I don't know.
All right. That's fine.
Let's start with Banshees.
Banshees. That was the first movie that I saw in theaters, actually, since, like, Nope, I think. I haven't seen shit.
I think same.
Yeah, like I mean, like we mentioned.
I saw Bones and All first.
Oh,
but yeah.
Yeah, but before these two, yeah. Yeah, we I covered or like we covered in the season premiere. Haven't really seen shit this year, so Banshees was the first one that I saw.
On the contrary, honestly, I feel like I've watched a lot of stuff this year, but not necessarily maybe new stuff. To me, but like not new stuff.
Okay, not necessarily new stuff. Okay, yeah. No, that's. I mean, I haven't done either, but. Banshees, yeah. So Banshees of Inisherin, directed by Martin McDonagh, Irish director, playwright, screenwriter.
Yeah.
Multifaceted guy, very talented.
Yeah, you see him reunited with the same lead actors.
Yeah, from In Bruges,
his first feature film.
Yeah, which we watched.
A couple weeks ago.
14 years ago.
14 years ago. Long time coming for these guys. Thanks, Parker.
Fact checker.
Fact checker, yeah. Producer extraordinaire. Yeah, so the same crew, same like core from In Bruges, which we watched together somewhat recently. I'd seen that for the first time like 2-3 years ago or something like that, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell that you can definitely like see like the playwright aspect in that screenplay. It's a very, very, very tight screenplay.
It's very like specific and limited setting and characters.
Yeah, for sure. But and I think that carries over in the writing style of a Banshees as well.
I would agree.
It feels very like, and you and I discussed this a little bit. It feels very literary.
Yeah, I mean, almost the first thing I said after it ended was it was like a fable or a folk tale or something.
Yeah, and like apparently that's like a pretty commonly like shared
opinion. Yeah, I saw that in a couple of places.
Yeah, like
when I was reading.
think the Roger Ebert review. I forget the name of the actual critic that reviewed it, but said that it does play out like a fable, like a very dark fable.
A tragedy.
Yeah.
For
so
sure.
what are your opinions on the film?
I really enjoyed it. I definitely went in like genuinely knowing next to nothing about the characters, the setting, like anything. Oh, my bad.
You're good. It's just the autofocus always loves it when you put it there.
Oh. Might be.
Star of the show, green tea.
I like my Lipton green tea, what can I say? Got a mini fridge full. Like
Yeah,
Coors Light.
You took away our beer fridge, made it a green tea fridge.
There's also beer in the it's
Yeah,
a
but
beer and tea fridge.
but no, it needs to be.
It wasn't even. There was space for the tea.
It should be all beer.
Okay. I really liked it.
Okay.
It was funny, which I knew it was going to be from the trailer.
Right.
What was unexpected was how sad and depressing it was.
Yeah, it was really depressing. I actually didn't ever get around to seeing Three Billboards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same director.
Same director. Worked with Francis McDormand. Moved his like I guess gaze into Middle America as opposed to the UK and Ireland. But yeah, In Bruges was also very funny. And I guess I don't want to like compare it all to like In Bruges because it's like a different film. But I'm also not like trying to like hold up one to another. I was just like trying to like rationalize it with my knowledge of, or my background knowledge of McDonough's work. In Bruges was also very funny. It was dark, but it wasn't quite as just like outright like depressing.
Yeah, and even though there's also violence in that film, it's nothing like.
Yeah, I guess because like
violence in this film.
it's like a world that like we're used to in film where it's like, you know, it's a crime thriller at its very core.
The violence is rationalized through crime.
Yeah.
You know?
Or this one, it's like not a crime thriller at all. So like the violent outbursts that happen, and they're not like crazy outbursts at all. But
they're few and far between.
Yeah,
but like
I guess it's not too much of a spoiler to, and we can get into spoiler talk at a certain point. But the crux of the conflict is, Podrick. I don't know how to really Podrick. Played by Colin Farrell, is like a pretty like simple guy. Lives just like a milk farmer.
It's just a happy
hangs out with a little mini donkey.
Penny.
Penny, is that the donkey's name? I forgot. Or is it Jenny?
Jenny.
I'm
wrong. Yeah,
Jenny.
no, you're right.
And lives with his sister in a little cottage. And every day at like 2 p.m. he goes over to his friend Colm, played by Brendan Gleeson. Goes over to his house, knocks on the door, and says, "Hey, let's go grab a pint at the pub." And they go hang out at the pub. But one day he goes there, and Colm is unresponsive and is just sitting in his house smoking. He's like, "What's going on here?" Comes to find out that Colm just does not like him at all anymore, and just wants him to like not leave him alone because he wants to do better things with the rest of the time he has left in life.
After a lifetime of friendship, he's decided against it.
Yeah, after a lifetime of friendrick, he's just like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And it's like, so Podrick just like after a while just can't really like seem to like let go, and like as a viewer it's like, oh yeah, it's like really sudden and brash for a lifetime friendship to like end so suddenly. But it's like, can the guy like leave him alone, like respect his wishes,
just leave him alone.
you can find someone else to be friends with. You got Dominic, who's played by Barry Keoghan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Keegan.
I've always said Keoghan.
Oh,
Keoghan. I don't know.
I have no idea.
The creepy bloke that's always in like that's always trouble whenever you see him.
Killing a sacred deer.
No,
Dunkirk. He's just like so off-putting.
He is
for some reason.
Movie with Colin Farrell.
Huh?
It's his third movie with Colin Farrell.
What else has he done with Colin Farrell?
Well, they didn't really work together, but they were both in the Batman. Batman movie.
It's true.
I guess you're right.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't. We literally just mentioned that. I forgot that was Colin Farrell too. In Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, this movie kind of reminded me of like The Lobster or something.
In what way?
Just the like allegorical elements of it.
Okay. Yeah.
The animals.
Animals. Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that whole thing, the tension of like, oh, why isn't Colm want to be friends with Podrick anymore? It's because Colm decides that in the limited time left, he's like an aging dude. He wants to like do new things and not talk about the same mundane things over and over again. He wants
whereas like Podrick can entertain himself talking about horse poop for hours.
Yeah.
Colm is an artist.
Yeah,
he wants to write music. And
Yeah, exactly.
Leave it. What it boils down to is different attitudes about life, really,
Yeah.
right? Because like, Colm wants to leave a legacy. He wants to be remembered by something greater than himself, like his music.
Right.
Whereas Patrick is like happy being remembered fondly by the people who he knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much like, yeah, exactly. That dichotomy of, you know, is it better to like leave a great life where you like leave some sort of like lasting legacy, or just, you know, leave like a simple life where it's like whatever you're doing that makes you happy, it's like, why not keep doing that, you know? That all comes to like a very like morbid like head in terms of the conflict, where Padre can't just like leave Colm alone, and Colm
he can't
says,
follow like a simple.
he can't follow a
request.
simple request to just like fuck off, and so Colm eventually says, "All right, here's what's gonna happen. If you keep bothering me, I'm gonna cut my fingers off of my hand
One by one,
and I'm gonna give it to you. Give you my fingers that I cut off my hand. That way you can maybe eventually get the picture. If I run out of fingers by that time, then I ran out of fingers, you know. But hopefully you get the picture by then."
Yeah.
Potter doesn't believe it. Test the limits, and then you know, other things end up transpiring. Not going to go into spoiler talk yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go into my thoughts about the movie now, because we've covered yours. I also very much liked it. I also did go in knowing very little about it. I think I'd seen a trailer for it, you know, online and stuff like that, and knew that I really enjoyed In Bruges. Same cast and director, writer, and I was like, oh, cool. This is something that I'm definitely going to want to see. I haven't been following like I said, I haven't been seeing a lot of movies recently. I also haven't really like been too in touch with like the award circuit this year. Whereas last year, I feel like I was like very in touch. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go see like these movies. I had a whole list of like things that I wanted to see that I knew were gonna be like, or either gonna be like big contenders in like award season, or like were like in the conversation or something like that. So this one was like, okay, this is like me like trying to get back into this mode. But yeah, no, definitely really enjoyed it. Definitely like got the same like Fable vibes, same like literary vibes, like I've said. And when I saw it, I thought I was curious to see what you were gonna say, because coming away from it, I immediately thought, I really liked that. I think that's kind of a movie that Emma wouldn't like.
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
I thought it was very funny and clever, even though it was sad.
Yeah.
Because I do tend to. That's not even true, though. It's like not like I don't like sad stuff. There's just a certain brand of sadness that I don't like, and that's like Cold War.
Cold War, know? Yeah, which I really fucking liked.
God, the dread, like.
Yeah, what's another one that?
And that's not what this was. You know, there was still like some levity.
Oh yeah, of course, in the humor.
Yeah.
But the humor was just like, oh man, that sucks. But it's kind of funny, you know.
It's kind of funny, and even so, like even with this friend breakup happening in the foreground of this movie, like there's moments where they're still so kind to each other because they are lifelong friends, and neither of them are bad or mean people, and they're not trying to be to each other. Yeah.
Like there's the whole instance. Okay, we got our well, no, let's talk about like a few more other like non-spoiler things as well.
Okay.
The performances were also very well done.
Yes, agreed.
I've heard like people saying that Colin Farrell is a early front runner for like, you know, best actor.
Best actor. Okay.
Brendan Gleeson's also you know, very great. And Barry Keoghan, whatever.
He was great.
He's also I really think he's just great in like anything that he does, just because he's just so off-putting and uncomfortable. It makes everyone uncomfortable. He's good. Yeah. He's really good at what he does.
What can I say?
Typecast.
So let's talk about the fact that this is set in 1923.
Yeah.
With the backdrop of the Irish Civil War.
Yeah.
It's set on a fictional island.
Yeah.
Inisherin does not exist.
I only found that out just like in the last like few hours doing research for this. So I've been in a Google Earth kick. So
right.
I'll just be sat on the couch watching football and like scrolling through Google Earth, looking at like whatever the hell. And so I was like, all right, Google Earth, my friend. Let's go on with Inisherin, and then I looked it up and it's like, it doesn't exist. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't know. just like dumb, spell it wrong or something like that. And then it's like, yeah, it's fiction. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh.
Thank you, Guardian. Guardian.co.uk. This podcast brought to you in part by The Guardian. The Guardian. Read it. It's fucking stupid.
So, the Irish Civil War.
Okay.
We're in this movie.
Okay.
We were about a year into the Irish Civil War.
Okay.
And that came following the Irish War of Independence. Obviously, all of this is about independence from Britain, right?
Right.
And after the Irish War for Independence, they were considered a free state, but obviously they were still under British rule. And then this infighting started between people who had been in the IRA together, fighting on the same side before, still regarding whether or not they should be under British rule. So obviously that mirrors this conflict between these two friends who have different attitudes about life.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it's simple, it's simple, but it's really a great way to tell this story.
Yeah, I always like when intimate stories are told in the midst of something much larger. I don't know. It makes it feel like there's I don't know. It makes a reminder of that there's a lot everyone else is going through their own shit. I don't know, but what comes to mind is Aroma, which I talk about all the goddamn time in the show. But it's there's smaller story about housemaid, indigenous housemaid. Meanwhile, there's this giant political upheaval going on in Mexico at the time, and it's intertwined because there's the whole thing about her baby daddy being involved in these paramilitary groups. And this one in Banshees is not quite as intertwined. It's more of just in the background. It's literally there's a distance of the water separating it physically within the narrative. With there's shots of Podrick looking out in the evening and hearing gunshots and some cannon fire coming over the hills on the mainland. So not quite the same thing, but still it adds a bit of a context to it. I didn't know it was set in the 20s.
Neither did I.
Until
I had no idea.
They said something about early 20th century or I don't know. They said something. I can't remember exactly what.
He messes with his calendar at some point. It said 1923, and I was like,
yeah,
what?
That's what it was. Yeah, if, from the trailers, if you had told me that it was set literally today, I would have been okay, that's cool. Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I assumed.
Oh, same. I didn't know if it was today. I thought it was the 90s or not even the 90s, but just recent past.
Recent, yeah. Sometime more contemporary.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see the friend breakup as a microcosm for this bigger conflict happening on the mainland. And they always kind of reference it that way, that's on the mainland. It has nothing to do with them, but obviously, of course, it has something to do with them. Yeah. And is affecting their lives. I think it's funny how throughout the movie they kept being that's dying down, whatever. And it did for a while, in reality. But
we know how
then from the 60s through the 90s, there was massive conflict. So
the troubles.
The troubles.
Yeah. I don't know too much about Irish political conflict, but yeah.
Genuinely same.
I just know that.
And I liked that you didn't really have to know the history to watch and enjoy this movie.
Yeah. It adds to the whole fable aspect that we keep bringing up. Okay, do we want to go into a bit more spoiler talk now?
Yeah, so let's talk about what the Banshees of Inisherin is. Spoiler
alert now. You've been warned.
The title comes from a song that Colm is writing.
Composing,
Right, composing.
And to me, it's opus, because he wants to leave a mark like Mozart did.
Yeah.
I also like that touch where he got the date wrong for Mozart. It's an interjection,
yeah,
but
that was funny.
He was
you don't even know what you're talking about.
You have no idea what you're doing, man. And then Podrick's sister. I forgot her name. Siobhan, yeah.
Spell that.
Nope. Siobahn.
So close. HAN.
HAN. What did I say?
BHAN. You said AH.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I had not acknowledged the camera until I think at this point, right now. Anyway.
The song.
I don't know where I was going with that.
My bad.
Okay, so the song, The Banshees of Inisherin.
All right.
What is a banshee, right? In folklore, a banshee is a woman who is wailing and signaling death on the horizon. Obviously, we have this character of Mrs. McCormick, this little old lady who is very witchy looking and who's always in the background of the movie. Like, she's friends with Siobhan. Friends.
And she comes over for dinner that one time or something like that.
Yeah, she comes that time, and then Podrick, in his anger over his own conflict with his friend, lets Mrs. McCormick know that Siobhan doesn't actually like her and like hides behind walls when she's coming down towards her. But, you know, there were times where, like, they wouldn't even, like, rack focus to her or anything, but you could, like, see her in the background, like, in her black veil with her, like,
It reminded me of It Follows, because we had just watched that, too. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, fuck.
Like, don't turn around. Don't turn around. Or do turn around. And at some point, she literally does warn Podrick of a death or two.
I think, was it? I can't remember.
To come.
Yeah, like a few deaths to come, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be in that they're both gonna die or something like that.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, who's gonna die? Who's gonna die? And both of the deaths were totally unexpected.
For sure. Yeah,
it wasn't anyone that I thought was going to die.
No, yeah, fucking yeah. That was on. Yeah. Dominic, rest in peace.
Rip. Yeah.
Kind-hearted Dominic. Bit simple, but you know.
Bit simple, that.
All he wanted was to love and be loved by Siobhan.
Siobhan, yeah.
I can't remember her name every time.
Podrick's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dominic was such an interesting character because even though he is portrayed as, or like, not even portrayed, but from Colin Farrell's perspective, when he's getting called dumb by his friend, he's like, well, I'm not the dumbest person on this island. I'm not like the town, the village fool.
Yeah.
It's definitely that guy.
Dominic, yeah.
But like, Dominic, in the end, has a much kinder heart than even Podrick, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think he, like, deserved anything that happened to him, even if he was, like, kind of annoying, you know?
Just like, yeah. Like, I don't know.
He was clearly, like, a damaged individual.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, because, like, he had that abusive, like, policeman father.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, that guy was a fucko, dude.
That guy was a fuck. But I remember why I initially wanted to bring up the spoiler talk was because what you said about, like, there are moments where they show care for each other still, even though they're, like, you know, beefing, having a row.
You're rowing.
You're rowing? I'm not rowing.
I don't think I am.
I don't think we're rowing. But I was gonna bring up the instance where Podrick gets socked by the policeman, and then Colm. Good lord, these fucking names, dude.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. The entire movie, I could not tell what they were saying when they were saying Podrick. I was like, Oric.
Park. Yeah, I was like, what?
Did not have that right.
Colm comes to his defense and like gives the policeman a good sock too. And then Colm puts him up puts Podrick up on his cart and rides home with him, puts him back in his house, takes care of him for a little bit, you know.
He's still not speaking a word to one another because Colm has
has begun cutting off his fingers. As per his promise to Podrick.
Yes, and he does in fact do that. Yeah.
Just lobs fingers at his door. Big, meaty, Brendan Gleeson fingers.
Meaty claws. Yeah, so the other, I guess, incredibly unexpected death. Maybe it shouldn't have been as unexpected as it was. I don't know. Maybe if I watch it again, I'd be like, oh. But Jenny, the donkey, Podrick's companion, bestie. Siobhan is always telling him, like, animals don't belong in the house. And he's like, but when I'm sad, like, I need her with me.
Yeah.
Rib, Lil Sebastian vibes. And of course she dies choking on one of Colm's fingers, so he inadvertently kills the only other friend.
The only other friend on the island
that Podrick has.
Yeah, because his sister had left town too.
Yeah, she ends up leaving because she's always been like the most intelligent person, it seems, on the island.
Yeah, gets a job.
She gets a job on the mainland at a bookstore or library. Something like, I think it's a library.
I think that sounds right. She leaves, leaving Podrick with only Jenny.
I really think that Podrick should have just gone with her and let go of the entire conflict.
For sure.
But of course, it's like if you've lived on this island your whole life, it's the only thing you know, and it's your way of life. So you wouldn't be so ready to leave, maybe, especially if you're as simple as Podrick. You don't really want for anything more.
No, definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
The setting was beautiful. It was actually filmed on some Irish island. I can't remember which
It was like
one.
something like Inisherin or something like that.
Yeah, something
like similar.
like that.
I don't know.
It was beautiful, and I thought that the cinematography and production design was beautiful as well. Especially like any interior shots were always just like, this looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Like they were pretty.
Yeah, those like really like breathtaking shots of like the coastline of the island with all the like giant cliffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, also that brings me to like another like a question that I have with the movie. There was a dark figure on the cliff as
Mrs. McCormick.
That's what that was. Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just couldn't be quite sure.
Little Grim Reaper figure she is.
Yeah. So I was like,
Harbinger of death.
of
Mrs. McCormick.
Shout out.
Okay, so what's a rating?
Yeah, so rating, I think I gave this a 4 stars.
Yeah, me too.
I could have probably like gone higher, but I just wasn't quite sure of like what it was. I would have maybe wanted to give it higher. I couldn't quite like put that to words, so I went ahead and just like put it safe with the 4 stars.
Yeah.
Really great.
Yeah.
Very good.
Really great. In a word, describe it. My word is tragedy, I think. Methinks.
Irish.
So true. So, Feckin'. All right, let's move on.
I'm gonna say describe Banshees of Inisherin in one word.
Describe.
It is like a full sentence, just in case you make it like a TikTok or something.
Okay.
And then we'll use the answers, but like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Describe Banshees of Inisherin in one word.
Okay.
Should I look at the camera?
No.
Okay.
Just yeah.
All right.
Have it as like an isolated thing.
All right.
Shall we move? Oh, cheese break.
I was like, I started and I was like, I can't talk and eat string cheese. This isn't really working.
All right. Yeah, fine. I'll be back.
All right. Shall we move on to our second film for the day?
Yes, moving on. Bones and all.
Bones and all. Eater. I barely know her.
I'm sorry. I'm actually Emma.
That was good.
Oh, I can see.
Did you get it?
That wasn't.
No, you already did that one.
What do you mean?
I've read that review, Jack.
There, if you just want to every now check to make sure it says rec, it should
Diego and Frog Watch.
Oh, it's literally this. Why was I looking at this like, what the fuck is that?
It's mirrored. Anyway, I'll have fun. Do that bit.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just you see the little red up here at the very top?
Yeah.
Make sure that if that's not there anymore.
It stopped recording.
Okay.
It shouldn't though.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on. Bones and All, our second film for today.
Eater. I barely know her. Guys.
Boo!
Fuck this. I'm
so-
walking off right now.
So this film is based on a YA novel of the same name.
Okay.
It is about a pair of cannibal lovers. In the book, they're called Eaters. Eater.
Oh, okay. All right. That one gets a little bit of a chuckle, huh?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Good one, Emma.
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
I know. Came up with that myself. I don't know anybody else who makes jokes like that.
Me neither.
Emma's the funny one of the two.
I would like to announce that I'm leaving the Mankheads podcast due to creative differences.
What?
Said I'm leaving the
He's
podcast.
drowning.
He is in the trenches.
All right, focus. Focus.
I'm focused.
Okay, so this is directed by Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
Also reuniting a director and an actor, because it's also starring Timothée Chalamet.
Yes.
I think Luca was attached first, and then he brought on Timothée Chalamet, who then ended up being a producer on the film. Don't really know to what extent that was. I'm kind of curious, like, what he actually did in terms of producing.
Yeah.
I assume money for sure.
All right.
But, I
wonder
have
what kind of,
thoughts about the fact that he was in it, but, you know, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that, yeah.
So, yeah, overall feelings. You go first this time.
First thoughts. I liked it more than I thought it would.
Same.
And you had told me that before as well. I I think we both also thought that it was going to be a lot more juvenile and YAE.
For sure.
Than it actually was. It turned out to be much more like a
nuanced.
Much more nuanced,
than I was expecting it to be.
For sure. There were a lot of like interesting ideas explored with this because the concept was a lot more grounded in reality than I thought it was going to be.
Which is a key difference between it and the book.
And the book, okay, I'm interested to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was I thought it'd be much more like a fantasy type thing, but it was actually very like, well, like I keep saying, grounded in reality. And that's also like exploiting also like I think the imagery of the film. It's very like it's set in like it's a road movie pretty much, you know.
It is.
And so with
Southern Gothic coming of age road trip movie.
Traveling across, the Midwest and the and Appalachia a little bit, that kind of thing. Kentucky, Ohio, Minnesota, areas like that.
Yeah.
Exploring. I'm gonna put this away. That way I'm not distracted.
Stop.
No, I just moved it. My bad. It explored a lot of like Middle America. That kind of thing. I was like, I feel very like
one girl's quest to find her long lost mother.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that was surprising to me. So same thing. I also liked it so much more than I was expecting it to. I thought it was going to be cheesy, and it very well could have been.
Yeah, it could have easily been really cheesy.
But it really wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was really thought provoking, much more so than I ever would have thought.
Yeah.
So I was expecting it to be more of a balance of the two main characters that it was promoted as, but really Marin, played by Taylor Russell, is the star.
The protagonist, yeah.
Yeah, she's the protagonist, and
it's her story.
And I thought she was great. I had never seen her in anything before. She was in Waves. I know she had a supporting role in that, which I haven't seen. And she hasn't really been in all that much anyway. But I'm going to have my eye on her now, and I think so is everybody else, because I definitely think this has launched her career.
I think,
to the next step.
I wouldn't be surprised at all either, with like a pretty big lead role like this in a movie by a director and actor duo that are very beloved by this point, even though they only have one other movie under their belt together.
Yeah.
It's still a very beloved movie. Not seen Call Me By Your Name, though, I will say that. And I do need to go back and watch that because... Yeah.
I think that having Luca as the director is part of what made this movie so good, because I don't know what it is, like, I don't know what his little magic sprinkle is on the films that he makes, but it's always, you can really feel like the human emotion in it. And I think that's just what this movie did so well, was to like humanize cannibals. Yeah. Because obviously they're quite animalistic when they're eating somebody, but these characters have real like struggles and demons of their own. Yeah. And I'll just say already, since I was talking about Taylor Russell, Timothée Chalamet was good in it, but like I think that he could have, the actor playing Lee could have been like somebody else. It didn't have to be Timothée Chalamet.
I have like kind of mixed feelings about his role in this film. I think at first thought, and I told you this as we were like leaving the movies, I kind of wished it wasn't Timothée Chalamet, because it was kind of hard to like,
it's a little distracting.
Yeah. It took me out of it a little bit, in that like Lee is kind of supposed to be this like a little bit more like rugged, like
hillbilly
kind of person, but also
Kentucky
boy, but also is like kind of fruity and like
a little fruity. So, and I guess that's what he does well.
I'm like, in that sense, like good casting, I guess, but also I don't know. But, so I had like I said, mixed opinions about the casting of him. I think I'm warming up to it now, because like I said, I don't think Lee's character is supposed to be like able to be pinned down quite so easily, or like the kind of person that he is.
Agreed.
So I'm a little bit more accepting of it now than I think I was in the moment.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I still think that
they both gave good performances.
Really
I'm just quite impressed with Taylor Russell. I thought that like I really cared for her character and like wanted good for her.
Yeah, for sure. I think she was also the cannibals that we encountered, the eaters. Excuse me, can't use the C word. The eaters that we encountered. I think she was probably the most like remorseful about like
definitely she had a lot of behavior. Guilt about it.
Yeah.
And like a wanting to understand and change.
Yeah.
That a lot of people like say Sully never would have felt that remorse that she feels. I mean, Sully is this character. So this movie's kind of episodic, right?
Yeah.
We're on a road trip. At the beginning of the movie, I guess we can get into this plot and maybe some spoilers here.
Yeah, we can get into like just the very like the first act, I guess.
Yeah.
I think first act was safe.
So you're introduced to Taylor Russell as Marin, and she's playing this very kind of meek, modest character. I don't even know, how would you describe her?
Just shy. Very meek is a good word, like you said. Yeah.
She's very quiet and seems like fragile, you know? And this girl at her school, like her high school, invites her to a sleepover. She says that her dad wouldn't let her go. The friend is like, oh, we'll sneak out. Here's how you get to my house, whatever. And she does it. It's all, like, chill. It's all just girlies hanging out, painting their fingernails, like, whatever. Until one of them is like, oh, look at my nail polish, whatever. And it has the most homoerotic vibes.
I was going to say, like, I think, I was very like, what is... I mean, I know the cannibal shtick, and I've seen the trailer, and like it's like the shot from the trailer where like she like puts like the other girl's hand in her mouth and goes crunch and like starts biting off her finger.
Yeah, she just like puts her finger in her mouth and then just like
skins it like a fucking chicken wing or something like that.
What is that called? It's like
deboning.
No. Like, but it's
degloving.
Degloving. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. She degloves the fuck out of her finger.
Don't go to that subreddit. Don't go to that subreddit.
Why would I? Oh my god! Didn't that happen to like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, like somebody's finger with their wedding ring?
It was Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, that.
Rumor has it is he was drunk as a skunk and
classic Jimmy.
Oh, I see.
Awesome.
Classic Jimmy.
Yeah.
And that is when you're like, oh, okay, here we go. First,
yeah.
like 10 minutes of the movie.
That was probably like the most like graphic. No, that's not true. But I mean, it's like
the most jarring.
The most jarring that the movie
just
gets.
Because
I think.
It's like you think, okay, we're starting off slow, whatever. Here we are, girls hanging out, whatever.
And then
yeah.
And like the poor girl's like scream. She like, it takes her a minute to like. It was a good performance by by that like nondescript character. You know, like very like. It took like much like the audience. It took her a while to realize what the fuck was happening, and then it's like, oh fuck, like, you're biting off my finger. Yeah. You know.
And her so what's her face? Marin runs home after that. Her dad's like, oh no, like not again or something.
Like,
you didn't do it, did you?
You did it again, didn't you, or something like that?
They pack up their shit and they get out of town.
And he's like, we have 3 hours to leave. Like that. Yeah. Or like 3 minutes. 3 minutes to leave.
3 minutes. Pack up everything you can. We got to be gone by the time the cops get here.
Yeah.
So clearly, this is something that has happened before. You jump forward in time, and then it's Marin waking up one morning to find that she's been abandoned by her father, and he has left her some cash and a cassette tape of him talking about why he's doing this, who she is. He left her birth certificate, which has her mother's birthplace, and he's kind of like, yeah, I can't help you anymore. Like, you're 18 now.
That's what he was like saying. Like, I told myself that like I just need to make it to when you're 18.
Yeah.
I won't like abandon. I'll do my best to like support you until then. But if I can make it to 18, then I'll be fine because I just can't help you through this. Apparently something similar happened to their mother. We aren't quite sure of what happened yet, but that she was in the picture and then she wasn't, and we can only assume that it's because
she was also
like that. She was also an eater.
Had a similar affliction.
Yeah.
So Marin sets off on a cross-country, not really, I don't know, cross-regional
I'd say cross-country because she starts off in Virginia or Maryland, and then she's trying to get to Minneapolis.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
To find her mother. And on the way, she meets Sully, this, where do we even start with him? Older eater who sniffs her out. So here I can talk about one of the changes that was made from the book, which is that two of the changes, the key changes, really. In the book, she's searching for her father.
Okay.
I think it was such a great choice to make it the mother. First of all, the whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, I want to see another female eater. Why is it only men?
It was all men.
Except for her.
Yeah.
And then, of course, her mother.
I didn't notice that.
So, it was... I think that was a really great change. And who knows? She probably meets more people in the book. I don't know. But having it be her mother just, like, really deepens, like, the conflict that she is having because she's never had a mother figure in her life. And especially if this person is the person she inherited this thing from, she has such a lack of, like, understanding of herself and nobody to teach her how to survive. And then, of course, after she's been dumped by her father, finding Sully, an older man who, like, is an eater and wants to teach her things, is, like, a good thing for her, even though he's really creepy. He's very creepy.
He's just like, he's like
played by Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I never caught his name.
You might remember him from Don't Look Up, Dunkirk, Bridge of Spies, which he won Best Supporting Actor for.
Who was he in Don't Look Up?
He was the billionaire.
Yeah, he was the crazy billionaire guy.
Okay, because I definitely know that I had seen him in something else, and that must be in it.
He was actually, not to interrupt too much more, but he was a pretty big part in the in Dunkirk. The character that was Barry Keoghan. Okay,
that's what I think. That's more I recognized him more from, actually. Okay, thank you, producer Parker. Yeah. If that didn't come through, Parker was telling us that he was the father of Barry. Well, who wasn't his father, was he? He was the father of this guy who was friends with Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan was just a neighborhood kid.
Yeah, or something like that. And so he was one of the people that, like, set sail on, like, the little boats to go, like, rescue all the British troops that were stuck across the channel.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Very, very tangential aside.
So she meets this guy, right?
She meets Sully.
And he's this kind of odd character with his little fedora with a feather and his braid down his back and his vest with all of the pins, on it and stuff. But he gives her shelter for the night and is telling her that he could smell her from, like, a mile away or something. So you get to this where she's now learning, because this is the first person she's met that has the same disease as her, right?
For lack of a better word, yeah.
For lack of a better word. And in the book, I think the cannibals are a little more ghoulish, and, like, that's what the Time article I read said. They're more ghoulish. And, I lost my train of thought. Like, there was a word that I was going to use. I'm going to off myself. Yeah, so they're more ghoulish and they're, like, supernatural.
I see, okay.
And they have that, like, heightened sense of smell in this, being able to tell when someone's close to death and smelling when someone has died, which Sully uses as a way of finding people who are about to die and then letting them die and then eating them.
Yeah, he has like a code, and we come to find that
he has rules, and that's something they mention more than once. Different people have their different rules that they adhere to, and his first one being that eaters don't eat other eaters. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's one of the rules that they mention. Like, later on when she meets Lee, he has his own set of rules and says the line to Marin that different people have different rules.
That's not one of my rules.
It's not one of my rules, yeah. But so, what's his name? Sully is a very like has a strong code in his mind, and he's certainly attempting to be a kind of a surrogate father figure for her. Like, let me teach you the ways of this lifestyle. Albeit comes about it very creepily and very like uncomfortably. So eventually, Marin, the house that Sully takes Marin back to, Marin comes to find that it's the house of an old woman who is like she like collapsed and she's like dying. And she's like, we need to call the police, and he's like, no, we have to eat. You know, it's like we have to.
Like she's gonna die anyways. So
yeah,
like,
she's gonna die anyways, and we have to eat. Like you may be able to hold it, like, or to like quell your appetite a bit better because you're young. But when you get older, you'll find that you have to eat.
You'll find that you'll need it more and more.
Yeah. So Marin takes his advice. That night, or the next morning, this old woman passes. And
Marin finds that she can smell it. Once you know that you have that ability and can hone it.
Yeah.
She is able to smell it, and they chow down together.
They munch.
Which is a very intimate thing, I realize. You know, like, later in the film, once Marin kind of decides, like, I don't want to stick along with this guy because he's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Even though I think he's trying to help, and that's fine. And he does. She got something from him. Yeah. You know, she learned a couple of things. I would have done the same shit, like, bye, like, get out of here.
And she tells him that. There's another line. Again, there was a lot of really like you say. There's a lot of thought provoking lines in this movie. One of the lines later on, she tells Sully, and she says, I guess it's kind of spoilery. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Been warned. One of the lines that she says is, I can't go with you, and he's like, oh, like, very hurt. And he's like, why not? And he also has like the I don't know, the energy of like a child. Like,
yes.
Really seems very like emotionally stunted.
Like throws a little fit.
Yeah. And like starts like like.
And she says, like, I don't trust you.
I don't trust you. And if that's right or wrong, or if I'm correct or if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. It's what I feel.
It's, you know, that's what I feel, and I've got to go with what I feel, which is that I don't trust you. You kind of scare me. And he can't, like, understand that. And
then he goes, like, incel mode and goes, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you dumb cunt, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's
terrifying.
Like, that's crazy. Anyways.
I love her romance with Lee because it's very, like, chill. Like, I don't know, it's not this super, like, some kind of, like, what I would have expected, some, like, YA just overly romanticized thing. They just, like, they're two people who are in the same situation. They're the same age-ish. We don't ever really know Lee's age, but I assume that he's a year or two
probably around the same age.
Direction.
Yeah. I think he's at Lee's probably, like, 2 or 3 years older, because older. I think 17... We find out that he left home at 17. And it's
been 2 years since then, or something.
It's been 3 years since he left.
3.
And he comes back to town every now and then to be with his sister.
Yeah. Both of them have, like, a reason to be, like, living and doing something. And his is his sister, and hers is finding her mother, who she does eventually find.
Which, you and I talked about this a little bit as well. There were a lot of really good... Ooh, Kennedy's wanting to come in.
Kennedy!
There were a lot of really, like, interesting decisions to take that kind of subvert the expectations of this, as just being, like, you know, your box standard, YA fantasy thing, fantasy romance. The decision that I really liked, and that came to mind first, was talk about the mother. When she does find the mother... in like a state hospital, a mental institution.
Played by Chloe Sevigny.
Played by Chloe Sevigny, who I didn't fucking recognize at first. Well, like, only one.
She did look kind of different.
I mean, she looked like an insane person. You know, and I was like, damn. So
with no hands.
With no hands. Yeah.
She clearly had, like, chewed her own hands off at some point.
Yeah.
Allegedly, what her adoptive mother alleged.
Are you gonna see it? Do you want to avoid the spoiler talk?
I've heard too much.
Already?
Yeah, I should have not been listening.
Maybe so.
I'm gonna see it anyway. It sounds great.
Oh, it's good.
It's really
unique,
good.
And it wasn't what I was expecting it to be.
No,
how it plays out.
It's exactly what I'm saying.
It's very good. And it's
fuckers.
It is genuinely, like, so gorgeous too. Like, it is pretty. Beautiful. I'm watching it the first time in the theater. I was like, this was shot. I was like, this was shot on film. Like, it has to be. And I looked it up, and it was. It was shot on Kodak, and it's just, like, the colors in it are so beautiful.
Yeah. A lot of greens and yellows, and just really
and
luscious,
some, like, purples and blues that you're just like, beautiful. Beautiful.
A lot of pastel colors.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
So very, very pretty. We're talking about the mother. Oh, yeah.
So Lee has joined her on the journey to find her mother, and he's like, I'm gonna help you do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like the meeting the mother is like, it was a little anticlimactic almost, but I think that's like the point. Like, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
You know?
It was definitely disappointing.
She finds her mother, who has like 15 years or so in the past, has like put herself into a institution.
Yeah.
And she has chewed off her hands, I guess, like, in lieu of being able to feed on anybody else and losing her mind, ate her own hands and left a letter for her daughter if she ever came to visit her, in which she kind of like is like, I'm sorry that this is the life that you have and the person that you are, and it's because of me, and that if you have to see me like this, you know, let me help you.
Let me help you out.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, the decision that was made was, or the way in which they went about the expectation not being met by Marin was the mother's idea of helping her out when meeting her is not to give her advice or anything like that. Instead, she tries to kill her.
She tries to eat her.
Tries to rip her throat out with her teeth.
Yeah.
And then the staff has to hold her back and stuff.
One of the things that they get at so much in this movie is the
fucking leave.
The uncontrollable urge of it all. Like, it is something that is so like visceral and like what is the word I'm thinking of? Like primal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is a need that I have. I need to eat warm flesh.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things that, like, the most immediate, like, if you want to put allegory into it, and I don't think it necessarily requires that kind of reading, but it could. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I can. Was addiction.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, like, it definitely seemed like a strong, like there were strong metaphors for addiction in there.
Addiction and like mental illness.
Mental illness, yeah.
That is something that I would say it did so much better than, you know, my beef with Hereditary. You know it already. But I'm like, if we were going to do like an allegorical take on like mental illness, and like hereditary conditions like that, I think that the way it was done in Bones and All, it was so much better.
Well, this one, yeah, I think this one lends it a lot easier than Hereditary. I love Hereditary for a lot of different reasons.
I just loved, I like something like this that was so grounded in reality, and yet isn't, you know, this is not something that is happening. Also, we haven't mentioned this at all, but the fact that this was set in Reagan-era America and Rudy Giuliani is on the TV, like, in the news at some point, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I saw that and I was like, what? Oh, I get it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I had no idea where it was set. Like, if I saw, like, the trailer. And also the way, like, Timothée Chalamet and, like, Marin are dressed. It looks like people
that... You kind of don't know. They could be, like, thrifty people now.
Like, it just looks like people, like, half the people I see in fucking Austin.
Yeah. I loved their outfits. I loved them because they're just, like, they re-wear stuff like real people who are, like, poor and have nothing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's
they
like,
re-wear the same, like, 2 dresses and shirts and whatever over and over again.
Yeah. And the people that are just drifting through, you know, like... That's the van life that van lifers wish they could achieve.
Okay, so another vignette. Okay, we are so unfocused.
We're very focused.
Okay. Where do we want to start? I think we should go back to... We're talking about how this is episodic.
Right.
We meet Sully, and then we meet Lee. Lee is kind of added in. They go on from there together as partners.
Yeah.
Looking for her mother, eating people on the way. You know how it is. Which causes conflict between them because Marin is always going to have guilt. And Lee is like, this is just who we are. Like, we have to just, like, deal with it.
Yeah. There's a good line by Lee's character that says, "How dare you make this harder?"
Yeah, like, how dare you make this harder?
Yeah, it's already hard enough.
It's hard enough to, like, just be this person.
Yeah, he said something like, either, you know, get over it or, like, off yourself or something like that.
It's like, those are kind of the options.
Those are kind of really the only options you have.
You learn how to live with it, or you learn how to not live.
How to not live at all, yeah.
Like,
something like that.
What can you do?
Yeah.
The next kind of stop there is meeting with Michael Stahlberg. Is that his name?
The
hillbilly guys. I don't remember where they are when they meet those people.
What's up, man?
Leave.
You want to soon anyway. Enjoying my free time.
The father in They Call Me By Your Name, Michael Stuhlbarg.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not saying that right. I never remember what it is.
Thanks, Parker.
Thanks, Parker.
Sorry.
So, once we've added Lee to the roster, they continue on their journey and they meet Michael Stuhlbarg and this other dude. Were these two hillbillies who approach them. They could smell them. And they end up kind of like having a little campfire and drinking beers together that night and just chit-chatting. But these people are creepy as hell.
Yeah.
They're really weird. And they're like, you figure out through their conversation that the other guy, not Michael Stuhlbarg. God damn. Not the like hillbilly in the overalls.
Bye, bud.
You find out. I'm gonna wait because that's so loud.
Parker has left the building. He's upstairs.
So, through conversation over the campfire, they figure out that the other guy is not an eater, but he's kind of a fetishist. He's kind of thinks it's cool and he's into it, and he has started eating people, and he's letting the other one like train him.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, so whatever. Marin's reaction is like, you don't have to do this, and you're doing it anyway. How many people have you eaten? And he's like, 3, and he's so proud of himself.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, are you good? Like, I am like afflicted with this. This is a disease. It's destroying me. It's destroying my psyche, like my consciousness, because like, it is something that I clearly have to do to survive, but don't want to do, don't enjoy, I'm disgusted by, or whatever. It's horrifying. Those characters were so like off-putting.
Well, yeah, and that's where we get the phrase like bones and all from, was these characters.
Yes, through their conversation. Dude, Michael Stuhlbarg always gets like the banger lines. You need to watch Call Me by Your Name, because he is Elio's father in that movie, and he has the most incredible monologue you have ever heard, father to son monologue you have ever heard. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Like, it will make you cry. Maybe not you. It makes me cry. He always gets the banger lines, and he gets the bones and all line. He says the thing.
He says the
thing.
Okay.
So getting back down to business, what were we even talking about before
We were talking about the phrase bones and all.
Okay, so Michael Stuhlbarg. His hillbilly-ass character says that his friend hasn't had his full bones yet, which means he hasn't eaten somebody, bones and all. And he goes, there's before bones and all, and there's after bones and all.
And then we were like, "Ooh, they said the thing." Ooh.
Right? And I think it's clear from that. I don't know if by the end of the movie, actually, I wasn't sure. Do you think that Lee, so big spoiler coming.
Big spoiler.
Lee's demons and the things that he's dealing with has to do with his abusive father, who is the cannibal that he inherited this thing from. And years ago, whenever his father was like going to leave or something, he was leaving the family, he beat up Lee and his little sister, and then Lee was just like, fuck no, like captured him, I don't know, like duct taped him and took him out to a barn.
He sent Kayla, his little sister, to go get the cops, and then while she was gone, bound him up, took him out to a barn, kept him there, and then
for 3 days,
and then
chomp.
No more Father Lee.
Wait, did you need a father figure?
Did you need a father figure?
Oh. Do you think that he ate his father bones and all?
No.
Because they never answer that question. And I was under the impression that neither Lee nor Marin had bones and all yet.
I don't think either of them had.
It wasn't even a concept they had like considered, it seems like, until this hillbilly guy is telling them about it.
Because Marin said that's literally not possible.
Yeah, she's like, you can't digest bones.
Yeah,
like,
it's
what?
It's literally not possible. So I don't know. I didn't get the impression. I mean, I guess it's possible that it could have, but if that's what we were supposed to take away from that, I didn't take that away.
Yeah. So they leave those guys in the middle of the night because they're like, these guys are creepy. And they continue on their journey. They find Marin's mother's mother, like adoptive mother, through which they find Marin's mother. Disappointment.
Lee.
Despair.
Marin is very disillusioned. Leaves Lee.
Yes. Because they have such different attitudes about that. He's just like, you really need to like move on from this. Yeah. And by the way, like, you cannot change who you are.
Yeah.
I think you're fine. I don't think you're a bad person. Do you think I'm a bad person? She leaves him nonetheless. just in her like emotional state. And at this point, we figure out that Sully has been following her. And actually, I don't know if you noticed this.
Is he in the background of some shots? Or?
Sully, not him, but the van.
The van, okay.
Whenever she finds her grandmother, his van is like in the distance at a different house. So he definitely ate somebody down there, probably.
Yeah,
because it was parked at a different house.
Okay, yeah. And that's another thing that we come to find is that like he's been adding to his like ball of like
keeps a rope of souvenir. He braids the hair of his victims into it so that he remembers each and every one of them. At some point, Marin like says the name of one of the people that she ate, and Lee says like, "Oh, does that help you like memorizing the names of your victims?"
Yeah,
not victim. They don't call them that.
They are,
but they are.
They're mules, I guess.
Even though when they get that guy at the carnival, it's like he was obviously like Lee looked around for like the biggest asshole,
the biggest
so
dickhead,
that they wouldn't feel that bad about eating him. Of course, when you find out that he has like a family, it's still like okay, even if he was an asshole, those people were depending on him, so that sucks.
Yeah.
Which is like the root of like the whole conflict. I think is like what, like so many other films and stories, what makes you human and what makes you like a good compassionate person. I think that like you see with a spectrum even within the cannibals that you meet in this story, some who have literally no remorse and Marin, who is so like stricken with guilt over the way that she has to live. She just wants to be a normal person.
I think we should go on to maybe some of our final thoughts about the movie. What was your rating for this movie?
My rating was initially 4 stars, and upon a second watch, I've lowered it to 3.5 because I did really enjoy it. But I didn't love every single thing about it, and like the things I've mentioned, Timothée Chalamet maybe not needing to be in his role. Even though he did fine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have any problems against him. I just, I don't know if he was the exact person that I might have wanted to see in that role.
Yeah.
I don't know who that would have been, but, it's gonna be, I'm just an armchair casting director, so.
Oh, actually, there's one last thing I do want to say, though. I mean, obviously, this is a romance, and, like, I think the, like, hillbilly character says to them, like, oh, you think love can save you?
Yeah. Okay, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something that, like, stuck with me as well.
And they do seem to have an all-consuming love for one another, which is something that they need. All-consuming. Haha. I maybe won't spoil that.
No, I'm like, that's why I was like...
you have that.
Yeah, I was like, that's why I'm like, I wanted to get to the... Because, we've already spoiled, like, 90% of the goddamn movie.
So much of it.
Maybe a lot of that will get cut, too, probably.
Yeah, no, I don't want to, like, spoil the whole movie, but...
It's also time, in general. It's also really long, the episode right now.
Because we're fine. Over an hour right now. 106. We've done worse. Don't worry.
Okay, never mind.
So, 3.5 for me.
3.5, okay. Yeah, no, I think I gave it an exact same 3.5.
How would you describe Bones and All in one word, Diego?
How would I describe Bones and All in one word?
I've got mine. Scrumptious.
Decadent.
So, Banshees of Inisherin, Bones and All, would highly recommend both of them. They're wildly different movies.
Yeah, very much so.
But both very enjoyable for different reasons and well crafted.
Yeah.
Well acted.
Yeah, they're like pretty much everything like objective about both movies that you could say. It's like, oh yeah, it was set design great, cinematography beautiful.
Yeah. Here's a silly little complaint about Bones and All that has nothing to do with the plot or anything stylistic. Well, it's stylistic. It's the inner titles of these blocky letters in a translucent, like black, like dark translucent thing superimposed just like over whatever.
Over like an establishing shot,
Establishing shot, yeah, and it's just like so ugly.
Really
I hated it. And they were just inconsistent. They said what month of the year it was maybe twice.
And then they also said like
then they would just say the abbreviation of the states that they were in, which was nice. It was like they're chronicling where they're going, but it's like y'all could have just not done it like that because it was ugly.
Like, maybe like
it's just like nobody saw this and thought that it was kind of ugly. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, stupid complaint. Go see the movies. They're really worth a watch.
So true.
Make sure to follow us at Mankheads Podcast on Instagram.
Okay, that's the show.
That's it.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.